What? Do you think this is just another Bitcoin pullback? The charts are shaking, the macros popping, and the president is going all out against the Fed. We've got Trump, the Fed, apparently nukes, fake job numbers, Arthur Hayes, and a parabolic run to $250,000 in play. Welcome back, I'm Rustin, and spoiler alert, we're not stopping at 250K. That's right. Cry harder, shit. It's coming. Now let's rip this thing wide open. All right, chill out. Let's talk about why the charts are red. And also, let's take a minute to talk about loyalty. I saw what you said. Fired. Send Rustin to the glue factory. Axed. Well, I got news for you. I'm like Jay Powell, baby.
I'm not leaving.
That's right. You called down the thunder. Now we have to get even more bullish. We have to go even harder. Drastic measures may have to be taken. We must avenge Toto.
We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
What are you doing?
Oh, and by the beard of John Brown, we're gonna do it. Now let's get to those red charts. Bitcoin dropped from 122K to 112K. Cue the panic. Cue the bears, but here's the truth. We're just retesting old all-time highs. Oh no, the price is back to literally the previous all-time high. I guess we're doomed. You are watching accumulation in real time. OTC supply is dropping. Long-term holders are buying. And this is classic lettuce hands shakeout behavior. Samson Mao has jokes, but he's not wrong. And look at that headline. Typical mainstream media. Make no mistake. We are prepared to launch. You want to know why markets are acting weird? Well, here's your list. Tariffs, nukes, Trump, rigged job numbers, and oh yeah, the Fed might actually cut in September with FedWatch showing an 89% shot. Goldman even said it. Job reports are being revised so hard it looks like the BLS hired ChatGPT to write them. And now Trump is tossing the old regime. New Fed governor, new BLS chief. Trump's about to run wild like Hulkmania, but with nukes and a Bitcoin agenda. Brother, Trump mania is running wild, and Bitcoin is the heavyweight champ of monetary policy. Oh, and breaking. China has banned Bitcoin again. This time, what's that make it? It's the 69th ban. Nice. Officially banned trading, mining, services to protect monetary sovereignty. Translation: communists hate freedom, and Bitcoin doesn't care. The hash rate literally just hit an all-time high. Every time China bans Bitcoin, number goes up. It's an annual tradition at this point. Let's talk about the real driver. Institutional FOMO. Saylor now says strategy might buy 1.5 million Bitcoin. That's like 7% of the total supply. And he doesn't think that's too much.
Is there ever too much Bitcoin for you to own? Like if you could own all of it, would you?
I don't think we'll get all of it. I don't think in the range of 3 to 5 or 3 to 7% is too much. BlackRock has got more than
I
us.
just wonder. I was thinking about the mental exercise of if you could actually own all of it. Like if you would even, bless you, if you would want it.
Well, you know, we started and we had very little, and Bitcoin was 10,000, and now Bitcoin's more than 100,000, and 97% of the Bitcoin is worth 10 times as much, and somebody else, not us, has it. Right. So as a practical matter, what we're doing is we're monetizing and powering up this.
I totally get it. I just mean, if you owned all of it, would that change the entire behavior of Bitcoin?
Yeah, we wouldn't want to own all of it.
I wouldn't want to.
We want everybody else to have their piece. The nice thing there is there's 160 companies that are capitalizing on Bitcoin in the public market, up from about 60 last year. So the Bitcoin Treasury movement's exploding. And companies like MetaPlanet in Japan and Capital B in France and Smarter Web in the UK. And then there's a raft of them in the US, Anthony Pompliano's company, you know, and 21. They're all capitalizing. The big idea is I take digital capital, I issue digital credit, and a digital credit instrument can either be longer duration or it can be higher performance. We're offering 9% dividend yield with Stretch. The average money market's 4.2% dividend yield. No one would ever want to give a 9% perpetual yield in a bond that's backed by real estate or backed by gold or backed by any conventional fiat asset. but we're investing in Bitcoin.
BlackRock, Fidelity, central banks, ETFs, and treasuries are all competing for the same coins. Kenneth Palpatia calls it the institutional demand compression principle. I call it the mother of all supply shocks. That's right, MOAS. And it could send Bitcoin to where exactly, Mr. Kenneth?
You should really look at the pattern of Bitcoin after a halving. So here's a little Bitcoin price analysis for you guys. So there's been a couple of halving cycles that have happened. And I asked him to go back and look at the price performance 1 month after a halving, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and 18 months after a halving. And what you notice is that there are these moments initially where essentially when you go through a Bitcoin halving, people are sort of reassessing what's happening and they're trying to figure it out. That's sort of what I would say happens in the first month and roughly what also happens in the first 3 months. But then within 6 months to a year and 18 months of these things, there are these crazy price appreciation cycles that happen. So that's what this page shows, which is, 18 months after the first halving, the Bitcoin price returned 45x. After the second halving, it returned almost 28x. And after this third halving, it returned almost an 8x, which is really incredible returns in such a short period of time. If you go to the next page. And so if you graph that, this is what it starts to show, which is what is this price performance after each of these halving cycles. Now, why is that interesting? Well, it's interesting because on top of this halving, which theoretically, if history is a guide, we should see some price appreciation. Obviously, the other thing that's happened is we've commercialized Bitcoin. And we talked about this sort of as my big prediction for 2024, which is these ETFs are really going to allow Bitcoin to cross the chasm and have its sort of central key moment, right? And so if you apply the averages, and again, these are just averages, they're by no means predictions. Okay, so I just want to qualify that.
Yeah,
this
is not financial advice.
It's not financial advice. These are just guesses.
Data.
We took these and we applied it to the price of Bitcoin. And if you go to the next page, you start to see what could happen if you just take the average of the last few cycles. So because the first cycle was so extreme, and you start to
so you're just doing cycle 2 and 3 here, to be clear.
Just the averages of cycle 2 and 3. And what you start to see is some really meaningful appreciation. And when I talked to Wences about this, how he explained it, which makes a lot of sense to me, is there are a lot of countries that will never look at Bitcoin credibly, even if they support it. The US may be one of those. But there's an increasing body of countries that will become dual currency. And they will look at their local currency, and then they will look at Bitcoin. And they will say both of these two things are needed. One, when you're transacting on a daily basis for random goods and services. And two, when you need to buy a permanent asset that needs to have residual value, you'll use something like BTC. And I think that's a very powerful concept. And if you look at what this price chart could indicate, is that if this thing starts...
Do you ever feel like the entire fiat system is held together with like duct tape and denial? Well, Max Keiser isn't just feeling it, he's calling it. He says the age of governments printing money like coupons and central banks playing God is over. You ready for the Bitcoin era? Here's Uncle Max with the prophecy.
For the next 500 years. Can you explain what you mean?
Sure, of course I can explain what I mean. You have a world where the train is leaving the station. Bitcoin has changed everything fundamentally. And those with coin, or the coiners, versus those without coins, the no coiners, there will be a split in the world and society. And we won't be looking at the world in terms of nation states anymore. I think the nation state becomes passé or disintermediated. Central banks are obliterated. And you have the global tribe of millions of Bitcoiners who have all the money. And then there'll be everybody else who doesn't have it. They'll just be living in a different reality. And that template will be set for 500 years because Bitcoin is perfect money, and it's taken 1 million years to get to Bitcoin. We finally achieved it. And now it's a day of reckoning. If you have no coin, you'll probably be living in the equivalent of hell. If you have coin, you will be living in heaven.
Now look, every time Bitcoin dips, some legacy goon says shut it down, ban it, regulate it, tax it to death. But what they don't get is this isn't a tech stock. This is nature, math, gravity. And as Preston Pish says, trying to stop Bitcoin, well, it's like trying to stop the sun from rising. Roll it!
It's the equivalent of trying to stop night from coming outside. Anybody fighting Bitcoin is there like trying to prevent the sunset from happening. I am a champion of let's harness the incoming technology as opposed to acting through fear and being scared of it. The one thing I did learn at West Point was never, ever accept defeat. Never, ever allow your environment to dictate that you're going to fail, right? And so many of these actions that are being made by these legacy string pullers, they are actions of fear. They are scared to death of this thing, as opposed to just looking at it and saying, hold on a second, there's a massive opportunity here if we decide to harness it, right? It's hilarious. It's so pathetic, really. Like, don't be a victim of your environment, harness your environment, right? Win.
When you know what those guys, the old shifty Pete's used to say, gold is the final form of money, the store of value, the end game, but not anymore.
You know, I want to have assets that will appreciate as the dollar is devalued, as it's debased. So I do own gold, but my focus is truly on Bitcoin, as you know, and that's why I opened the Bitcoin Opportunity Fund. And so all of my excess capital is kind of pointing towards that personally now. So, but I do have nothing against gold, though I do believe that we are seeing the beginnings of Bitcoin demonetizing gold. And, you know, will gold go to zero? Absolutely not. It will, I think it will retain that store of value in the global, you know, universe of investable assets of $900 trillion. Gold is about 18 right now, and Bitcoin is about 2. So, but I do believe that Bitcoin is going to catch up to it and be that ultimate store of value for people in the future.
Follow the liquidity, not the noise. This is a global monetary reset, and Bitcoin is the arc. All right, now real quick before we hit the rocket boosters, look at our likes.
3 or 4 times, maybe. I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp while we take a moment to recognize our sponsors and show you how to survive the coming financial storm. If you're still holding your Bitcoin on an exchange, you're doing it wrong. Go to thebitcoinway.com and learn how to self-custody your Bitcoin like a sovereign individual. They'll walk you through multi-sig, privacy, and even help you move your coins off those clown platforms. No tech skills required. The team over at the Bitcoin Way has got you covered and will coach you on your journey from start to finish. Don't be caught holding IOUs when this thing hits 500K. Schedule a free 30-minute consultation with the Bitcoin Way using that link in the show notes. Oh, and once you've secured your Bitcoin, here's how to make it work for you without selling a single sat. Life comes at you fast, and if you ever need to tap into your Bitcoin's value without selling it, boom, you're holding pristine collateral. That's where Ledn comes in. Ledn has funded over $10 billion in Bitcoin-backed loans just since 2018. No monthly payments, no penalties, just pure flexibility. You control your loan, you control your Bitcoin. Collateral is never lent out to generate interest, and every 6 months, proof of reserves. It's simple. If you need cash but don't want to sell your precious corn, Ledn has your back. Check out Ledn, Bitcoin-backed loans done right. Go to ledn.io/simply and use the link in the show notes and get 25 basis points off your first loan. All right, here we go. Now let's tie it all together. You ever wonder how big this thing can actually get? Jack Mallers says we haven't even scratched the surface. Forget gold, forget real estate. Bitcoin is coming for a $500 trillion market, and it's still just a toddler.
You see the price of Bitcoin heading?
Higher.
How much higher?
A lot higher. My general framework from the highest level is human beings collectively, we own about $900 trillion worth of stuff. That's equities, the things behind us, real estate, precious metals, fine art, all of the things that we own. Half of that we're using as a savings account. we're owning the portfolio of companies or the art or the house to actually try and persist wealth into the future. I think Bitcoin's going after that market. It's going after a market of $400 to $500 trillion worth, and right now it's $2.5 trillion. So I think in purchasing power terms, Bitcoin can go up 100 to 200 times more from here.
All right, so we know Bitcoin obviously is the most
When billionaires start sounding like maxis, you might want to listen. Like Kameth, early Facebook, early Tesla. He's calling for 1.14 million this cycle, not in some distant sci-fi timeline. This cycle. And if you still think 250K is some moon boy hopium, Wall Street disagrees. Bitwise, a major institutional ETF issuer, their CIO just said Bitcoin will hit $1 million in 5 years. Let's run it.
Talk to me about where you expect the value to go longer term for the assets.
Yeah, well, I think, Bitcoin is at a new all-time high. Bitcoin is coming into the world as digital gold. That's a massive market. We think Bitcoin could get to $1 million within the next 5 years. What the stablecoin bill is, it really unlocks the non-Bitcoin parts of crypto, the assets like Ethereum and Solana that facilitate the movement of things like stablecoins around the world. I think we're in the early days. This is akin to investing in the internet in 1996. I think we're going to look back in 5 or 10 years and find it funny that we were skeptical of crypto. I think we'll be using it in our day-to-day lives. So this is, a unique generational investment opportunity for.
If that wasn't enough alpha for your dopamine receptors, Arthur Hayes has been calling these cycles like clockwork since 2019. He nailed 69K in 2021, and now he's calling for 250K next. And just like before, it's all happening right after the accumulation zone. Check out the pattern. History doesn't always repeat, but it does rhyme. And we're still arguing over 112K? Brother, the parabola hasn't even started. We've got the Fed about to pivot, inflation's heating up, and every major institution, BlackRock, Fidelity, JP Morgan, front-running the plebs. This ain't a bubble. This is a black hole sucking in fiat, gold, and every ounce of trust left in the legacy system. And if you really want to see what the future looks like, join us at Mining Disrupt 2025. It's only months away. The biggest Bitcoin mining conference and expo in the world. They're heading to Dallas, Texas, November 11th through the 13th. Meet the legends building the hash power revolution, from sovereign mining to AI and Bitcoin integration. This is where the next wave of Bitcoin's history is being written. Grab those tickets today and come see Simply Bitcoin on the news desk. And don't forget, use promo code SimplyBitcoin for 20% off. Bitcoin's going to 250K and then $1 million. And you're either in the arena or watching from the bleachers. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pam by sharing the Sound Money Gospel. Set those notifications for the best in Bitcoin news delivered to you daily. And keep your head on a swivel, because we got tons of content coming this week. I love you guys. Catch you next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, you.